Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. Today's video, we're going to do some maintenance on the Ridgid R4512 table saw. Recently, in the last project, I noticed that my riving knife has been very loose, and so we're going to attempt to fix that today. Follow along. Hopefully we can figure this out, and if you're experiencing this problem, you can solve it as well. So this issue's probably been going on for a while, but I just recently noticed it in my last project. I mean, this is within the zero clearance insert that I can move it, but I mean, this is just loose. About the same movement. So yeah, I can clearly see where it's around the, I don't know if you'd call it the arbor, but off of the arm from the motor, it is loose there, and there is a lock ring on the outside. And I know down low it is held by a few nuts, a few bolts. So hopefully that is the case. I did do some research. There was nothing very clear online. We're gonna pull the table saw away, and we'll get the back cover off. So first, before I take the back cover off, there's a lot of sawdust that hasn't been sucked up through the dust collection. I'm gonna turn it on and just break it away by hand. So upon looking in here, this is my initial conclusion. So if I can shake this here without getting in front of the camera, right here there is a bolt through, and this is what it's allowing it to move. I mean, this will move up and down when you adjust the height of your blade, which is connected to the arbor portion. Which is a Y, and then splits off to the riving knife. And I'm unsure if there's supposed to be that much slack here behind this C-clip, but my guess is the space, this is abnormal here as well. Mind you, this shouldn't be a friction fit because of the adjustment that is needed, but this is quite a bit of slack. So this looks to me like a threaded bolt from the backside. So what I'm gonna attempt to do is take these 3 bolts off and tighten this on the back end and see where we end up, see if that takes it away. All right, so I've taken the plate off, but what I am seeing now is there's actually a bushing between, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's actually a bushing from the head of the bolt to the bracket. So it's actually meant to be that loose so that this can have some wiggle room, which does make sense, and meaning that this design does not rely on this bolt being snug to the bracket to decrease the wobble. So the problem is not here. The only spot that it is attached would be at the arbor. Separate this C-clip, see if I can look behind there, and maybe something's gone broke or something. Maybe I can see something that is wrong, but otherwise I think I will have to shim that. So here's what I found out. I mean, I'm thinking after, I may not have had to take this off. This is sitting in there like this. And now, on my part, it was completely covered in dust, so maybe I should have cleaned it first. But there are 3 set screws here. They were kind of covered by the C-clip. But if you brought it to the right orientation, the C-clip, you could rotate it around. You would reveal the set screws, which in turn put pressure on the back to hold this in place. So that is the solution. I'm gonna, for that portion of this, of the problem, I'm gonna put this back in. I see this here, I blew with some compressed air to get it cleaned up. And we'll put that back in. The other thing, which I know is a common problem, is these things become crazy hard to tighten. And that's why you could see earlier in the video, I actually use this, undo this, and that's why I've been doing it for a while. And it works, but kind of inconvenience. And since I'm here, I'm gonna adjust this. I think it's just a matter of adjusting this lock nut just to reduce some of that tension. The wrench for this back nut is a 1/2 inch. Very close, still fairly tight. Minor adjustment. Much better. Done easily by hand. Still keeping it nice and tight. I think we'll leave it at that for now, and I'll put it back in. All right, so now that we got it in, I'm seeing now that I can adjust it from the inside. So if I would have cleaned it up first, that probably would have helped a lot. I see one screw here, or one set screw is right here. So I'm gonna tighten it a little bit just so I get a little bit of tension. So what I'm actually gonna do is back this one out. So for the 2 set screws that were loose, a small amount of blue thread locker from Loctite. I'm going to adjust them till they make contact, then back them off slightly, just so that they're not rubbing and causing resistance, but they're creating a snug fit. All right, so now that we fixed that and found the issue that the set screws at the arbor were loose and that there were set screws, that definitely made it easy. We'll close this back up. We'll get the riving knife in, get the blade in, and then we will check to make sure that the riving knife is perfectly in line with the blade. Also, I gotta say, over 90% of you are not subscribed. Hit the little subscribe button down below. Thanks. So I have this fairly inexpensive gauge tool that I bought for table saws. Got this from Busy Bee in Ontario. This is a brand they carry, Craftex. It's got a magnet here that attaches to the inside of the T-track, and that's what it uses to create its reference edge. And then we'll put this against the start of the blade and the back of the blade and see how square the blade is to the T-track, and then we'll continue on and put it to the riving knife and make any adjustments that we need at the riving knife. Now there are people that will even slightly adjust the riving knife, I believe. I'm not too familiar with it. I have always adjusted it very straight. If anything, I believe you would want it slightly toed in, because this has a bit of deflection, and you want this to be pushing pressure against your piece of wood against the fence, which will help in turn hold it against the fence, as opposed to it being able to drift off to the left after the cut. So let's zero that out at the front. Lock that in place. So we're at 0. So very good, I think. I'm not sure what the tolerance is, but we are less than 1/1000th of an inch there. About 3/4 of a thousandth, so I'm fine with that. So we'll pop this over to the stop here. And we are about 30 thou off. Yes, we are about 30 thou off. That is fairly straight, but we are 30 thou off. So we will loosen these 2 set screws right here that I see on the bottom, and we will slightly bring it over. So we're about 2/1000ths difference from the front to the back, which I think is good. This has been a bit tedious, so we'll leave it at this and see how she operates. Hopefully I was able to walk you through the process of fixing the slack adjustment in the riving knife, the R4512. This is a very common saw, but I believe since then Home Depot and the Ridgid brand have moved up to the R4520. And I'm not sure if the adjustment is the same. That is all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. God bless.